Welcome to the Day's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here with us. Today, we are unpacking something that touches almost every single one of us at some point in our lives. If you have ever felt like you're stuck in a rut, just going through the motions, or finding that the things that used to really excite you suddenly feel like a massive chore, well, you are definitely in the right place. We're going to look at the science, the psychology, and the deep internal drivers behind getting your spark back, and more importantly, how to build the daily routines that keep that spark burning brightly.
So I want to ask you a very direct question right off the bat. Do you feel your passion diminishing? Look, it is a painful but really validating experience to just acknowledge this. You wake up and that internal fire, that drive that used to push you forward, it just isn't there anymore. It's a feeling of internal burnout, and it can be incredibly frustrating. But I want you to know this isn't a permanent state. It's actually a biological and psychological signal, and today we're going to decode exactly what that signal means for you.
Our roadmap today is pretty simple. First, we'll ask, where did your passion go? Second, how to awaken your willpower. Third, the steps to build routine habits. And finally, how to beware of energy thieves.
Okay, let's dive right into this first one. Where did your passion actually go? Let's find that root cause.
To really understand this, we can turn to psychiatric specialist Dr. Mazen Makabal. He defines passion as the internal psychological drive for physical or moral goals. Think of it literally as the fuel for striving and change. So the crucial point here is this. Without this internal fuel, you remain completely paralyzed on the inside. And that's true even if your external world, your job, your home, your relationships, is absolutely perfect. You can't just fix the outside, right? You have to refuel the inside.
Now, organically speaking, your passion isn't just some mystical, abstract feeling. It relies heavily on very specific brain chemicals. Neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, and adrenaline play a massive role here. When your dopamine levels deplete, whether that's through exhaustion or stress, that internal fire literally fades away. You aren't losing your mind, you are just losing your chemical fuel. And that depletion happens for a few distinct reasons. We can kind of divide the root causes into two categories. On one hand, we have medical causes. This is things like depression or dopamine-depleting addictions. Endless scrolling, gaming, emotional eating. Things that give you a quick temporary high but ultimately leave your brain bankrupt. On the other hand, we have non-medical causes, such as existing in a toxic environment or having your freedom restricted. Being in a toxic workplace or an oppressive situation strips away your dignity. It forces your brain into mere survival mode. And when you are just trying to survive, you absolutely cannot focus on growth or passion.
So how do we fix it? That brings us to part 2, how to actively awaken your willpower and reignite that fire.
I want to share this profound historical insight from Imam Ibn al-Qayyim. He noted that the soul inherently has two forces, advancing towards benefit and holding back from harm. True patience and willpower don't just mean sitting still and suffering through things, they mean successfully mastering both of these internal forces. You have to actively propel yourself toward what's good for you while simultaneously hitting the brakes on behaviors that drain you.
And listen, willpower isn't just about grinding through the pain with a clenched jaw. According to experts in psychological and spiritual well-being, willpower is actively fueled by deep spiritual and emotional energy. When you lean on your trust in God or your deepest spiritual beliefs, and when you intentionally nurture loving, generous connections with your family and friends, you are actually recharging your internal battery. We draw immense strength from our faith and from our community.
On a highly practical level, experts featured by Al Jazeera recommend 3 major resets to give your mind the necessary space to spark creativity once again. Number 1, actually take a break from your passion. Step away. Let the pressure dissolve. Number 2, set new, varied goals to break the sheer monotony. Doing the exact same thing every single day kills creativity. And number 3, which is absolutely vital, escape toxic environments. If the environment is poisoning your passion, you've got to change the environment to renew your drive.
All right, moving on to part 3, steps to build routine habits. This is all about translating that willpower into action.
Now that the internal spark is lit, behavioral scientist Katie Milkman provides us with these 5 actionable steps to translate your raw, newly found willpower into a sustainable daily routine. We need a specific goal, a detailed plan, a way to make repetition fun, built-in flexibility, and social support. Let's break these down to see exactly how you can apply them to your life starting today. Just look at the difference between a vague goal and a specific one. Saying I will meditate regularly is honestly a trap. It's just an open invitation to procrastinate.
but saying, I will meditate for 15 minutes every day after my final meeting is actionable. Making a goal highly specific and incredibly small makes it vastly less intimidating to execute. You know exactly what success looks like.
Step 3 is honestly one of my absolute favorites. It's called temptation bundling. This is a highly effective psychological trick to make the repetition of a new habit genuinely enjoyable, rather than feeling like a chore. You simply take a want, like listening to your favorite podcast or a gripping audiobook, and you pair it directly with a should, like going to the gym or cooking a healthy meal. Suddenly, you actually look forward to doing the hard work because it's bundled with an immediate reward. It's brilliant.
Furthermore, you must keep your routines flexible and social. Rigid routines, they shatter at the very first sign of disruption. If you miss your 8 a.m. meditation, have a flexible backup plan to do it at 5 p.m. Don't throw the whole day away. And on the social side, remember that behaviors are contagious. If you want to start running, don't try to convince your inactive friends to join you. Go join a running club where the habits you want to adopt are already the norm. Surround yourself with people whose habits you want to catch.
Finally, part 4. Beware of energy thieves. It's time to protect your passion.
You really need to beware of these energy thieves. These are the internal and external threats that will attempt to drain your willpower on a daily basis. I'm talking about anxiety, frustration, constant distraction, and physical fatigue. These thieves don't just rob your time, they literally rob your dopamine and serotonin. You have to actively guard your mind by recognizing when you're just tired versus when you are truly burnt out, and managing your distractions ruthlessly.
When those thieves do strike, and they usually show up in the form of procrastination, how do you defeat them? Well, you remember that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. I know it sounds like a cliché, but it is deeply true. Do not look at the whole mountain, just look at the very next step. Moreover, actively remind yourself of the activities and tasks where you have achieved high success in the past. Use your past victories as mental armor against present frustration. You have done hard things before, and you can absolutely do them again.
Which brings us to the end of our journey today, leaving you with one vital question to ponder. What small habit will you build today? Not tomorrow, not next week, today. You now have the roadmap to understand your energy, to spark your willpower, and to structure your habits. The power is entirely in your hands. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Stay focused and go take that first step.